What are y'all? It's the mental ninja jumping up on this bitch. Just, I ain't really trying to do no like special kind of video really. I just want to talk about some things. So, first off, welcome to the dojo. Shout out to everybody that's out there watching or gonna watch or might check this channel out. I hope you get to get something healthy out of what the things I talk about. Just be honest and shit. I ain't got no agenda other than to like just spread my light. You know what I'm saying? I have these thoughts. I consider things and like sharing with other people that I know and I don't know. Not for the point of them trying to conform them to believe like me or to adopt my understandings or to adhere to my opinions about things, but just simply just to share, man. Just to, express free expression. And so like one thing I want to talk about, man, is like I just watched Bro Sanchez's video about like, what's going on. He just posted a video a couple hours ago about shit being like sanctioned and stuff like that. And it's crazy because, when I grew up, man, I'm an 80s baby. I was born in 81 and shit, And I remember like we were taught in school, man, the importance of the freedom of the speech. Like that shit was like that was one of the main things we learned of, to understand how important, how valuable, and how unalienable our rights were as humans, and American citizens, and how we fought these wars, and how my people came from slavery, and how we had George Washington did this and that, and Abraham Lincoln did this and that, and all these people fought for us to have these rights. And it's crazy as hell because like I'm literally watching all that shit disappear, the freedom of speech disappearing and stuff. And it's like, how would they have been able to do this kind of stuff? And it's like, to be honest, we asked for it. I must be honest like that. We asked for it, man. When social media was such a cool thing and everything. And man, I've only been on social media since like 2012, right? So it's like maybe like 8 years and shit, But I never was into that stuff because for one, I was ripping and running. I didn't have no cell phone like that and the computer and laptop and all that stuff. And, for two, I really didn't care. I was really trying to keep in contact with people from high school and meet people on the internet. I'm trying to meet people in the streets and shit, trying to hustle, trying to do this and that, connive, shake and rattle and roll and shit, And just watching how things are changing, man, it's insane. It's just insane. And of course, man, yeah, I'm like, damn, it's like you never miss something till it's gone. And I'm watching what we thought was the truth and how we're supposed to live and all these perfections of society being like just pretty much evaporating. And it's like, I kind of seen that too, like in my own family life, man, with my parents and shit. By them, by like us going to church and doing this every Sunday and stuff to like, we kind of stopped, I mean, it's nothing wrong with it, but it's like, that's kind of the fact of the matter. What happens, we just stopped doing it. I get it, It's a big ass moth. God damn. Motherfuckers touched my hand. You see this nigga right here? That nigga just touched my motherfucking hand. What the fuck wrong with that nigga? You know what I'm saying? But just like watching the world change, bro. I'm looking at the sky. It's a full moon tonight, man, sitting on my balcony. And sometimes I'm like, this whole COVID-19 thing, bro, and like, I really don't agree with it. I really don't believe like the way I'm supposed to, I guess. Society's still supposed to believe in it and participate in like the whole get down, right? And I'm gonna say this, man, regardless if they strip rights away, if they do this and that, I'm gonna do what the fuck I wanna do, even if it kills me. One thing I won't do is hurt other people. One thing I won't do is infringe on other people's freedoms and stuff. And that's a funny thing because like we can say that and we mean it, right? But if me not wearing a mask and me not wearing gloves can be looked at as an infringement on somebody else's life, man, and they believe something I don't, and they believe it religiously, then like, now I'm kind of like, that's bad for me, right? Well, it's crazy, man. It really is crazy. And I try not to get to like the really morbid reflection and the extreme worry and bitterness and anger and stuff because I know for a person like me, what that can lead to. You know what I'm saying? Well, my mindset. So it's like for me, it's like best that I be aware and be grateful for things I do have right now. It's like I got my own spot, got clothes on my back, I got food in my stomach, I got food in my refrigerator, I got a vehicle I can get from point A to point B. My mom used to got guardianship over my son on the other side of town. I can go see him whenever I want. She really doesn't let me have any come over like into the house and stuff. We do the 6 feet distancing thing because my mom is old and she has valid fears. And you know, that's my mom. You know what I'm saying? My son is in a good place. He's safe. He's healthy. You know, my family's safe. They healthy. You know, I get to participate still in Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, I'm an alcoholic. I don't keep that a secret. I'm still doing my OTO thing. I don't keep that a secret either. But like those things I'm grateful for, bro. And the biggest thing I'm grateful for is I don't have to pick up a drink today or a drug. You know what I'm saying? So like while I watch the rest of the world going crazy, you know what I'm saying, about what we gonna do, what we gonna do. I'll tell you what I'm doing, nigga. I already surrendered, nigga. I surrendered 3 years ago and I got sober. Ain't really nothing in this world can take that away from me. They can sanction and legislate and shut down YouTube and shit and shut down Facebook and shit. I was gonna be back where I was without YouTube and Facebook, not doing the same thing I was doing because I really didn't care about that shit then. So why am I gonna care about it if they take it now? You know, because I've been operating, doing this YouTube channel thing. You know, I got 8 days left on my Facebook ban, jail or whatever. Like, nigga, I'm a convict, bro. I've been to prison. I've been locked up damn near every state I lived in and shit. I caught felonies in majority. I got 4 felonies, you know what I'm saying, since I was turned 18. I lived in 4 different states. I got 3 of them in one state and 1 of them in this one, you know what I'm saying? It's in Nevada, you know, but for me, man, it's easier for me to keep hold of the simple pleasures, man, the things I'm grateful for. So like, you know, for those that watch and stuff, man, you know, I did a little video on Billy Carson. I was talking gang cash shit, you know, and it's because I got the opportunity to, bro. And if I see something I don't like, I can say something about it. And if I say it in a way that some other person might not agree with, I'm pretty sure that I might not want to say it the way they would say it, you know, as I'm in my understanding now. You know, that may change. I might start speaking on some never curse, never use, speaking with no conjunctions or whatever, like Data from Star Trek. When he doesn't say couldn't, he says could not, you know what I'm saying? I may only speak on Wednesdays instead of every, you know, whatever comes down to it. I may change, I may not. In the end, does it matter? Does it matter if all I'm gonna do with what I have now is try to be the best person I can be, try to be my true and authentic self? But first I have to learn who that person is, you know what I'm saying? So I took some, you know, I took some steps, I took some understanding, some self-knowledge, situations, tribulations and stuff, so I can learn more about who I am as a person, who I am as a man. And I know it's not really encouraged in this day and age, man. Like, and I'm watching the narrative, man, of like, bro, Sanchez was right, bro. You know, I'm not saying like, oh, dogmatically or superstitiously and stuff, but I'm like, I agree with that shit. You know, that, you know, I would like to know what all the medical people are saying. I don't want to just hear one side of it. I don't want to hear, I don't want to be fucking playing spades with niggas that's dealing loaded decks. You know what I'm saying? Where they get all the good spades, I get all the bad spades and shit. I want this shit to be dispersed evenly. And look, if other people ain't gonna disperse it evenly, there's only one person who should, if that's what I want. It should be me. You know? At least I know what I don't want out of life. You know, so like, while I feel like they sanctioning us, I shouldn't be sanctioning nobody else. You know, if I don't like slavery, I should probably never own a slave. You know what I'm saying? If I support sobriety, for me, then I should probably never take a drink. If I support, you know, do what thou will, you know what I'm saying, I should do my will and not prevent anybody else from doing their will unless their will conflicts in my safety. You know what I'm saying? I have to remove myself from that situation. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I'm just watching the world change, you know? And like bro Sanchez said something that I agree with totally. And I say it to myself, is that, you know, our kids are growing up in this new world. And he said they ain't never gonna go back. And it's like, I can see that. I can see probably how, like, you know, in the civil rights, before they did affirmative action, before they did segregation in schools, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of white people like, what's gonna happen now, man? They're letting blacks in schools and stuff, letting them in colleges, our kids and stuff. And they thought maybe it'd been a thing that would pass and shit, and it didn't. And like everybody in school, everybody else and stuff. But now we're moving to like, they ain't even going to school no more. And I don't even see a purpose, like now the way things are going, like, why would you even put them back in school? Because I'm sure they can institute a new system can be instituted to teach kids from home. And it's like, okay, but what's going to happen with that? Like, what about the textbooks and stuff? Well, you know, we ain't going to mail textbooks at people's houses. We'll just put it all digital and stuff and give them these little, and the thing is for the further separation. And The whole idea, I'm about to smoke chain smoking this bitch. You know, the whole thing about depopulating the world is like, if it was done, it would probably be done in stages, right? It'd probably be done like, first, you get people to where they can't go outside or limit their movement. That would probably be the first thing that needs to happen. You know what I'm saying? Because otherwise, like when you run an experiment, bro, you can't just have like the experiment running wild. It has to be controlled in controlled environments and controlled settings. And then of course, you have your variables, the uncontrolled variable, whether it be the motherfucking parts of the experiment that are kind of loose, that we can't predict. You know what I'm saying? But we use those to understand, the control, and we use the control to understand the variable and stuff. So what would be first probably would be to limit the movement of people, and after that, people would start getting they'll start complaining about limited movement. So then you want to limit their freedom, their freedom of speech, right? And that would be done with the social media. Everybody's at home, everybody's on their screens like me right now, on their phones and shit, or on their tablets or in front of their laptops and shit. You know what I'm saying? So you compartmentalize everything, right? And then once you limit the movement, then you can limit the speech by limiting what the mind can see. And since we have all our handheld devices, I'm pretty sure that nowadays, even though I see people taking walks and stuff, I'm sure they're taking the walks to escape the device, to escape the TV, the Netflix, the Hulu, and the Amazon Prime, and the Disney Plus. And people aren't going to movies no more. Not going to sit down in groups in restaurants and stuff. It's pick up your shit and go back to your house, go back to your cell. Get your store, go back to your cell. You know what I'm saying? And that way, through there, then you can begin to probably depopulate. If the way I'm looking at it, then you can begin to depopulate people, compartmentalizing it, by households and stuff, by sections of town. That way, people are being depopulated. Depopulation happens with people still within their homes. You don't have mass chaos in the streets, and the people that venture out in the streets, that are like the variable, that want to speak for themselves and want to think for themselves, don't want to stay at home and watch TV, they'll be easier to round up because there'll be less people on the streets. You know what I'm saying? Going from point A to point B and stuff, you know what I'm saying? And it's a crazy ass system. And yeah, I kind of see, my 6-year-old son growing up in this way, in this new world. And I can't, honestly, bro, I can't say if it was any different before I got here because I wasn't here. All I know is what I would know from when I was here. And when I was here, we had, Saturday morning cartoons and shit. This is how I was a kid. We had Saturday morning cartoons. We had Kung Fu. We had the Cartoon Express on Saturdays. We had fucking Mr. Rogers. We had Fred Penner's Place. We had Nickelodeon with Eureka's Castle and fucking the Elephant Show and Lamb Chops. And fucking Conjunction Junction was just barely on the TV, and Pinwheel and stuff, We had He-Man and She-Ra and Transformers and G.I. Joes and GoBots and stuff, and the Rock Lords and the Thundercats and the Silverhawks and stuff, and Great Space Coaster. Niggas don't know about that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Captain Quasar, Captain Caveman. And that was life, bro. And this is before Nintendo really came out, because I moved to Korea when I was 4 years old, 4 or 5, and got back when I was 7. And Nintendo had been out 3 or 4 years. I didn't even know what it was. And it was a new thing for me, but it was so new. Everybody else knew about it. They played Mario 3. I didn't even know what the fuck they were doing to the TV. They were operating it from a little control. You know what I'm saying? And then I see they're playing this, it's like an arcade game, but at home. I knew what arcade games was. You know what I'm saying? And I remember watching people play Street Fighter and Outrun and pinball games and stuff in Korea. I used to lead the base and wander around the city and shit. And then after a while, I started to understand what Nintendo was. And then Super Nintendo came out, and TurboGrafx 16 and Sega Genesis, or vice versa, and 32X and Sega CD and then Magnavox and then CDI and 3DO and Atari Jaguar and Neo Geo and stuff. And it just kept getting better and better. Then we get to the age of Nintendo 64 and Sega Saturn and PlayStation, Sega Saturn, Nintendo 64 and shit, and it took off from there. And it was normal life. It was, my parents didn't play video games like I play video games. It was a completely different existence when they were kids. The niggas talked about some shit called pick-up sticks and jacks, and I remember playing jacks, but not on the level that they did. And we played Pogs, but not on the level that they did and shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy. We had super soakers and stuff. I ain't seen a kid with a super soaker, nigga. I see them in the store, but they have the Nerf still in the store. But you don't see kids running around Super Soaker and shit, playing TV tag and playing freeze tag and playing Mother May I and playing red light, green light, and playing fucking before we play the football game, we do put your feet in, you know what I'm saying? Or put your hands in, 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4. We used to play that shit, and they don't play that no more. And the changes, we're like, I feel like I do feel disconnected from my own childhood that way. And I miss those days. I miss that shit, man. When fucking like, when Michael Jackson was like the biggest thing that come on MTV and shit. They shut the whole world down for a Michael Jackson debut movie and shit, or video. And Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and the Pro Stars and shit, and Bo Jackson and stuff, and Mike Tyson and stuff like that, man. And Michael Johnson and the Olympics and stuff, and everything changed. Everything's changed, man. From the Wu-Tang and shit. And I looked at it like, I started like, you know, like 2001 or 2002, I started realizing that it's like a 5-year change. I can look, because I travel over the world as a youngster. I lived in all these different states as a youngster, different countries and shit. I was never in one place more than a year, 2 or 3 at the most, until we moved to Las Vegas. I've been here, you know, off and on since 1995 and shit. So I had a very broad experience before I got settled into one place. And other people, they've been in the same city all their lives, you know, and I had to learn everything new again. So for me, transition is easy. Learning new things is easy, but for some people that don't leave their cities and stuff and only live in one block or on one side of town or move like 4 or 5 times within the same fucking city or side of town, they're not gonna really be able to adjust the way like I might be able to adjust, you know. And then plus, when I was ripping and running, I've been homeless before. I've been from prison to prison, transporting from jail to jail, from pod to pod and stuff, you know. And I'm just looking at the whole world as like a new, different place. And my first thought was like, how dare they change things up? But it was like, bro, things have been changing up the whole time you've been alive. The shit was changed up before you got here. You know, this ain't the same world my parents grew up in. My parents grew up in a world where it was like damn near still illegal to be black. My mom told me about having, when she was in Monterey, and my grandfather became the first black principal in Carmel, in Salinas, in Monterey, the first black principal in the state, in that county, that township, whatever, or that city, and how they were fired, the people were throwing fucking Molotov cocktails through her window. You know what I'm saying? This is right after the Black Panthers, you know, died down or got really in some bad stuff, whatever, you know, and how like they remember only able to go into stores that said blacks for coloreds only and drinking from certain fountains and stuff. And I can't imagine a world like that, you know. And they've been transitioning and going through every change, but there was a disconnect with them also. There was a disconnect when it came to my music. They didn't like hip hop. They called it boomity boom boom boom. They couldn't identify with that shit. They couldn't relate to it because it wasn't the music they had as children. And their parents couldn't relate to the music they had because they were growing up on that fucking barbershop shit, you know what I'm saying, and old school blues and stuff, and Elvis and stuff, you know. So my parents grew up in like the 60s and the 70s, you know, and I'm looking like, damn, for my son, what's it gonna be like in the future? Like, who fucking knows? All I do know is it's gonna be change. And I'm pretty sure one day my son will be sitting here, hopefully, if he has the same kind of ability to question and critical thinking that I do, that he'll be like, man, it's not the same as it was when I was younger. You know, my Pepsi don't taste the same like it used to and stuff. Like, he'll be like, I remember we used to, you know, play on, you know, watch fucking this and that on TV, and we had fucking Daniel Tiger and Dora the Explorer or whatever and stuff. He's like, it's gone now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure like this has been happening for as long as man has been around. And the thing is, we keep forgetting. We keep disconnecting ourselves from our childhood youth and becoming so adulted. You know what I'm saying? They talk about adulting today. You know, and it's like, fuck adulting, man. Adults have lost their way. The whole thing about Peter Pan, wanted to be a kid forever, and the whole thing about Captain Hook is Captain Hook hated Peter Pan because they're youth, because they were stuck as being kids and they were stuck as being adults. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't want to go back to the regular world because they would grow old and die. And the kids didn't want to go back to the regular world because they would grow up and become like adults. And that's like death to a child. You know, and it's like we've lost that childhood understanding and stuff. And And that's a tragedy. And it's like, when we look at the world, children ain't fucking this world up though. It ain't the children fucking up. It's us, it's the adults. Why? Because we forget. Children don't cause wars. Children ain't inventing new fucking drugs and new ways to kill each other and new weapons of mass destruction, new fears and stuff. They have the same ass old ones, man. That scary ass house on the fucking, on that one scary house, that one scary old man living in it. You know what I'm saying? They got the fear of what's in the closet or under the bed and shit. They got the fear of, like, you know, looking into the darkness of the woods and it kind of gets darker and darker and darker and stuff, and boogeymen and stuff. But the adults, we making real fears, real fears, the fears that kill people. You know, kids really ain't abducting, like, in a sense, the way adults are abducting other people, each other and stuff. Kids ain't raping each other the way adults are raping other people and children and stuff, man. So it's like, I think that might be one of the bad things about being an adult, is that we forget to be a child. We forget what it's like to be kids, and we were really free. If you want to see somebody's free, the kid's the most freest being on the planet next to an animal. You know, they're in their nature, man. And like, I look at my son, and he's like, he plans out his whole month. This nigga don't even know what 30 days is, how long 30 days is. He can't even barely understand a week or two, but he got everything planned out, everything figured out, and it's free. He's not tied to no certain agenda or certain, I gotta get this done or it's too late. I gotta pay this bill before it's too late. And we become like stuck in this society of adulting, and it fucking sucks, bro. It really does, and we're all panicking because we're so adult, we can't figure ourselves out of this adult situation. Because we're using the same minds to get us out this shit that got us in this shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's just wild. And it's like, I'm looking at the full moon, I'm like, man, there's gotta be more to life than this worry shit. There's gotta be more to life than worrying if I can say what I want freely and shit. And it's like, man, would I rather live as a slave? Would I rather live as somebody who's not allowed to speak his mind freely? You know, or live as somebody who can't even speak unless what I'm speaking is scripted and given to me to repeat. You know what I'm saying? And like, I guess when that happens for the children, it's all hope is gone. All hope is gone. And we already have that going on anyway. You know, with the education system, teaching the kids what's right and what's wrong, or not even that, teaching kids what's to be repeated. And they believe it's right because they're full trusting of the adults that teach them the information. And we don't even fucking care. We don't care. You know, it's almost like the adults are angry at the children, like Hook was angry at Peter Pan and shit, and was mad because, oh, you don't know what the world is like. You don't know how to, because they have to go pay bills, they have to go to work, we have to go do this and we have to that, and the kid has to be a kid. And what little bit is left of that childhood is spent in schools and following directions and attacking their childhood. No, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that, you're supposed to grow up. You know what I'm saying? To what? To become like one of us? Nigga, if I was, hey, look, I'll tell all you kids in the world, fucking run. These niggas don't know what the fuck they doing. They got this shit all fucked up and all backwards and stuff, man. You're free, run. Start your own fucking civilization of kids. Don't grow up. It's not fucking worth it, you know what I'm saying? Unless you can retain your childhood mentality and keep that innocent and that glow that you have for wonder and journey and adventure and shit. Never lose that adventurous heart and stuff. And if you're an adult and you're like, damn, mental ninja, I feel like I'm right where you're talking about. I can identify with you. It was like, well, there's a secret too, man. You know, is to born yourself again, man. Not like just going like to church and having the Father or the Holy Man sprinkle some special dust or water on you and shit. It start fucking doing things like you was doing as a kid. Go grab you a Frisbee. Go in your room and act like a fucking retard or some shit. Do whatever the fuck you want, man. Go try to build a fort or something. Go be a fucking a tracker or something in the woods and shit with your little backpack and some sandwich bread and a banana and shit with a thermos with some water and stuff. You know, go run through the fields and shit, man. You know, especially now, like with Big Brother, which is more like, you know, fucking bad grandpa. It's important that you start to remember. That you start to remember who you are. And who you are is not an adult. Who you are is you were born as a child. That's who you are. Where you came from. And we forget where we came from. And we think that We got to keep the life in order for to protect the kids from themselves. So it's like the pitch that we give them. We're protecting them from themselves because all this chaos, all this poison, and they eating Tide Pods, and we got to make sure they don't drink the shit that's the Fabuloso because it's purple under the sink. It's like, who put that shit there? You know, one thing, plugs, outlets, like they say that they keep the little plug outlet blockers for the fucking babies, but they put them in an area that a baby can get to before an adult could. An adult got to bend all the way down and fuck his back up. I got to fuck my back up. I got bad knees to bend down and unplug and plug something. Shit, I have to go under the table to plug something up. Kids get there easily and stuff. You would think it would be higher up. And of course, I know for the plugs and the wires and stuff, it's more feasible and stuff, But like for the sake of argument, man, we make things that are bad, easy access for children. And like, you got to ask yourself, man. One thing I have to ask myself, you don't got to ask yourself shit, but one thing I ask myself is like, is this the way that I wanted the world to be? When I was born, I did not know about guns. I did not know about drugs. I did not know about alcohol or war or vice or hatred or fist fights or fucked up systems. I didn't know about none of that shit. And like one day I was here. And then I didn't remember, I even know that. I didn't even know it wasn't me until I started to be conscious of what's going on around my surroundings and stuff as a child. And I started to explore to find out and this and that. And people tell me you can't go here, you can't go there, you can't do this, you can't do that. And the only thing that we're allowed to do is wish Santa Claus would bring us what we want. And we ain't getting it. Because we don't know what we want. Because the adults, they showed us what we think that we want. And it's bullshit. It's fucking pyrite, fool's gold. And you got children nowadays acting more adult, and we think that shit's cute. We think that shit's cute because the child is acting like an adult. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not cute. They're not children no more. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. When the whole COVID-19 thing, man, they seeing the mask, they seeing this, they seeing that. And it's normal for them because they don't think they got to say no damn way. Imagine what would happen. Imagine what would happen if all the children of the world was like, you know what? If all the children of the world were like, fuck all this shit y'all adults got going on. We fucking gonna riot. We gonna fucking march. And all these children marching. You know what would happen? The parents would be put in jail because they're not watching their kids. Let one kid organize a revolt. That's just unfucking heard of on some Lord of the Flies shit. Let one kid organize a revolt. And they don't fucking stop that shit. Who's gonna stop it? Us. Because we think we know what's good for the children. If we know what's good for the children, then why are we making weapons of war? Why are we making every new kind of fucking plastic firearm and shit and new kind of knife and new kind of bow and arrow and shit? Why are we making new things to destroy flesh, to destroy humans that protect the children? When we go to war, we ain't going to war with babies. We ain't going to fucking go to war with the adults versus the kids. We going to war with other adults. And these same adults that are going to war against us, our enemies, they're fighting to protect their families. And what do the families do? They're stuck right in the middle of it. It's crazy. It's fucking insane. And I'm sitting here just waiting for the day like, well, really, you can't say nothing. I kind of feel like it's coming. It's like, what are you going to do then? It's like, shit, fucking nigga, I'm going to do what the fuck ever I want. And if I'm going to get killed for like saying I don't agree with that, then I guess that's what it is. Because the day I fucking start behaving in a way that's not me, is the day I'm already dead. This is my life. I'm going to live it. Alice in Wonderland, she said, this is my dream. I'll do what I want in it. But for my case, I know people are like, oh, and I know I'll say that kind of shit. Some people will think the worst fucking possible shit that they think that I mean. And that's not what I mean. That's what you're thinking. Whatever the fuck it is, I don't even know. I don't even want to know. You know what I'm saying? Because like our society has a strong fucking anxiety, develops a strong anxiety for those that we think just don't fit in. And we persecute and we harass and we target and we humiliate and we separate and we subjugate and we destroy anything that challenges what we think is individual identity and shit, when not many people have individual identities at all. The people are not even wanting to be themselves no more. That's what Facebook filters are for. They like the way they look digitized before they like to look at themselves in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man, watching the world change. So, like, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep living. And if it gets to a point where I think, like, I think it's a better thing for me to live in the fucking woods and shit. And, like, if I want to spend the rest of my life with nature and not in this fucking mosh pit of fucking blind motherfucking stunt dummies and shit and zombies. Half zombie, half stunt dummy. What the fuck? Half mannequin, half zombie and shit. Blind as fuck. Everybody got guns and swords and shit, you know what I'm saying? Tearing each other apart and living in the woods seems like a better idea. I'd rather fend myself against some animals than against some people who act like animals. Then that might be the best bet for me and shit, Because in the end, I'm not really looking to be remembered by how well I fit in society. I'm looking to see how well I created my own. Even if it's just me and maybe one person like my son. Or maybe he's like, Dad, you know what? I like society. I want to live like this. You had your turn, let me have my turn. I have to honor that shit. I have to honor that shit because I understand that he is a man too, or he will be a man. And that's a sad thing. Is like, I never want him to forget his childhood. I never want him to forget, like, your childhood doesn't begin till you're grown. That's when you can go places that you want to go. But don't forget what it's like to be a child and want to go. Because as soon as we get grown, we stop dreaming. Deep sleep, deep state, And it's just wild. So if there is like this great agenda and shit, everybody's like, we're gonna stop it, we're gonna do this. And I'm like, man, what if I can't? What if I'm powerless over what's going on? The only thing I can control is how I feel about the situation. I look for peace and shit. I look for solace and I look for understanding and shit rather than fucking trying to make somebody do something against their will that they don't want to do. And if the people don't want to see things the way I see them, that's their fucking right. And if I don't want to see things the way they see them, that's my fucking right. But the day that everybody's seeing the same thing, something is wrong. Definitely fucking wrong. Unless, I don't even know, man, because without freedom of expression, how do we know what's right or wrong? You know what I'm saying? A tree is free to be a tree. And I don't even know if that's right or wrong, but I know it gives me air. The tree ain't complaining about shit, ain't even fucking moved. It's the same spot it's been all this fucking time. You know what I'm saying? And I think we lost that nature of ourselves in a way. All this technology and shit. And it's like we're chasing technology that we want to become one with the technology. I get it, but what's the worth of that when we don't get to have the experience of being human that makes that technology be so fun? It's the human experience. Because once you become so involved in technology, you're not human. You lose your experience, then the technology fails to serve a purpose. It's supposed to give humans an out, but it traps them within till they're no longer human themselves. Like on some Borg shit. When the niggas hit you with that fucking Borg fucking thing and come out their little Borg fucking needle and inject the shit and your skin turn green and shit. And next thing you know, you come around, you got fucking little chips on your eye and shit. And you plugged up next to little cutis and shit. You know what I'm saying? Your skin is white. And you talking with one fucking voice and one mind and shit. You're no longer individual. And I think if that day ever happens, I think that's probably when the system will stop and reset itself, because it can only last so long in a state of, because nature abhors a vacuum. If everything's the same, that's a vacuum. And I think nature will reset itself, and maybe that's what's going on now. Who fucking knows and shit, bro. I know the day you stop growing is the day you dead. You grow up, you grow down. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know, I just want to drop a little free conversation, chilling on my porch, looking at the full moon. And that's it. It's the Mental Ninja signing out. Welcome to the dojo.